Hi guys, we're here today to do an installation of our Bixpy J-2 motors on the Transom adapter, and we're going to use the Scout 360 today to show you that installation. So this is a really simple installation. When you get your Transom adapter, you're going to get the Transom block with the vertical pipe on there. Okay, you're also going to get two handles for your tiller steering. And the tiller steering is already installed on the Transom adapter. So it's already on there for you, so you don't need to do anything with that. You do have a choice of a 12-inch and a 24-inch tiller handle. So we'll cover that later. You also get a handle grip with that, and you get some zip ties, some pipe clamps for your wiring that's gonna run up there, and a small Allen key to adjust the height of the Transom adapter. So that's gonna be included in your kit. The only things you'll need are either an adjustable wrench of some sort and a Phillips screwdriver, and we're going to cover all of this as well. A little bit of rubbing alcohol helps get the grip onto these handles, and again I'll show you how that's done as well. So if it's the first time you're doing this, the easiest way to start is going to be mounting the Transom adapter onto the boat and then mounting the motor onto the Transom adapter. But first I'm going to show you what comes in your kit. So when you get your J2 kit, going to get your quick start guide, which you should definitely read because there's lots of information in there. Going to get your decal, which you should put somewhere nice and prominent. We got our battery, that's the PP378 there. Charger for the battery, have a remote for that battery. We have our kill switch with a small Allen key for the back of the motor shroud. And of course we have our J2 motor here that we're going to today install on the Transom adapter. Okay, so let's get started. So like I said, the first thing you want to do, especially the first time you're installing, is have this on the boat first, because it'll make it easier for you to position and adjust the height, and it'll also help you decide which tiller steering length you want, whether you want the 12-inch or the 24-inch. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on our boat here, and it's very simple. It's like any other Transom adapter. You've got these two big bolts that are adjustable. Okay, so they're going to go onto pretty much any vertical surface. We're going to drop them right here and just tighten these. Now you do also have a feature here on these adapters where if you want to lock this on your boat and not have someone take it away, you can actually use a padlock to lock these two eyelets together, and that way your Transom adapter is locked into place and you don't have to worry about it getting taken away or stolen. I mean, there's a way to get through that, but nonetheless, it is a one level of security. So now we have our adapter mounted to our boat, and you'll see that we do have an adjustable feature here. So if you push this button down, you can adjust the trim on your motor. And later on, in a second, I'm going to show you how the height is adjusted as well. So we're going to keep it right about there for the motor installation, because it'll give us a little bit of an easier access. And we're going to go ahead and install the motor onto the Transom adapter right now. All right, so we've got our J2 motor here, and I'm going to go right ahead and put that J2 motor onto my adapter. And this does ship with 4 bolts and 4 nuts that I'm going to put on there. And which side you put the cable on doesn't really matter. You can put the cable on either side of this adapter. Either side is fine. And in a second, I'm going to show you how to use zip tie that cable to your adapter so it's not dangling and it's out of your way. So there's our 4 bolts. And you want to make sure these nuts and bolts are nice and tight, because that is what is holding your motor to your adapter. Once they're in, they'll all go in. This one is being a little bit difficult, so we can just use a screwdriver to drive it in. Okay, so like I said, you know, this is where you get your adjustable wrench or your number 7 wrench, and just tighten these really nice and tight. You don't want to use an impact driver or anything, as it is plastic and it will break off. Just want to hand tighten these nicely. All right. So we are now done with the motor on our adapter. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to get this cable and tie it to the pipe here so it's out of the way and it's not dangling when you're motoring. So for that, we have these very neat little clips that ship with your adapter. We have 3 of them. You don't have to use all 3 of them. For a length about this size, 2 of them will suffice. So that clip goes right onto your cable. The zip tie goes right inside it like so. Oops. And that gets tied in. Now which side you run the cable doesn't really matter, and you can tuck it to the back or the front. None of it really matters. Typically if you tie it to the back, you won't get any weeds or any debris catching it, so that's a good place to do it. So here's another clip I'm putting on there, and again we run this through. And that's about it. So we've got our cable now secure nicely to our vertical pipe, and all we need to do now is just clean that up and cut it, and I'll show you guys how to adjust the height and also how to lock in the vertical drop on that adapter in a second. So like I said, we're going to clean this up a little bit. So there is our zip ties cut off, and now what we want to do is we want to decide the depth of this motor in the water. And what you want with these motors is you want the water to be about 3 to 4 inches above the top of the motor. So if you look at your boat or your sort of application here, if we drop him down right where that is, we're in a pretty good position right now for this particular boat. But if we did want to adjust it, it's pretty simple. There's a little clip here. We use our Allen key to open this up. And let's say we wanted to drop it by about 2 inches. We'll just move this up by about 2 inches. And we tighten it nice and tight so it'll never go below that depth. And then we just open this clip here and it'll just nicely drop down there. Now you notice that when I open this, I was also able to start steering. So if you did want to lock this motor into place, you just want it to go straight, you just reach back, you lock this down, and your steering is now locked as well. So that'll help you adjust up and down and also sort of close it down so the motor doesn't steer. So since we have it closed down now, I'm going to show you how to put the tiller handle onto the adapter, and it's very simple, and we go from there and we're done. So the only thing left now is to put the tiller handle on here. Like I mentioned before, your tiller arm does ship installed onto the adapter. So what we're going to do, we're going to choose which length we want. For this kayak, I know I'm going to be sitting in the back, so I'm going to go with the 12-inch. And you'll see that on one side of this there's a hole, and we're going to put that hole in there. But before we do that, I'm going to slip the grip on here, because the grip is a little bit difficult to put on here. So I don't want to have the handle in there and then try to fight the kayak and the adapter. I'm going to do this on the table because it's a little bit easier. To make this a bit easier, you can use a bit of water or rubbing alcohol, and I've got some rubbing alcohol in here, and I'm going to shoot some rubbing alcohol into there, and I'm going to put some rubbing alcohol on the handle. So just keep the hole clear, because that's what we need to install onto the adapter. And oh, actually this one was quite easy, so that one is on there, and that's it. That's going to be your tiller handle. That alcohol is going to dry out, and this will be nice and firm on there so it won't slip off. And I'm just going to open this up. Your adapter will ship with this bolt on here already. Don't lose the washers. You have a washer on each side, and we slip that in there. There's our washer, and there is our nut. And again, I'm using the same 2 tools. Got my Phillips driver and my adjustable wrench to do this part as well. That's it. So you've got your tiller handle now. We have our 12-inch tiller handle. Again, if you open this, you'll be able to steer. If you don't want to steer, you can just lock this down and have it go in one direction. And this handle does tilt down and fold in here like that for easy storage. And when you're done, it's as easy as opening this and taking it off your boat. And all you want to do is, if you're in salt water especially, is take your motor away, maybe put it in a bucket of water, run it for about 10-15 seconds to rinse off any salt water, and that'll help prolong the life of your motor. Now that we're on here, I'm also going to show you how to install the battery and maybe a couple of suggestions for where to store the battery. So there we go, we're done. We're done installing the Transom adapter on a Scout 360. So guys, we have our Transom adapter and J2 motor installed on our boat. The only thing left now is to plug it into the battery. Here we've got our PP378 battery. A couple other things you'll notice is I've got my kill switch out here, and I've got my remote, and I have a little bit of dielectric grease that came with the package in your J2 kit. So we're going to use all of that. I'm going to show you how to put the battery on there and a couple of suggestions for where to store the battery. So all we have left now, guys, is to connect our motor to our battery, and we're set and ready to go. You'll notice on your battery you've got 3 ports. You have a charging port, an auxiliary port for 5 and 12 volt devices, and we have our main power port. So we're going to connect into our main power port with the motor. We're going to open that connector. You'll notice you have 5 pins on that connector and 2 small tabs on top and bottom. And you'll see the same thing on your connector. You've got 5 pins and you've got 2 tabs there. So we want to line up those tabs and those pins together. Now before we do that, just to protect these pins, especially if you're near salt water, you want to put a little bit of dielectric grease onto that connector. Just about a pea size will do. Then we're going to line up our connector pins, plug right into that connector. We're going to find our tabs so we can push the connector all the way in. Then we need to turn this 175 degrees, and then you'll feel it under your thumb, just clicking into place. Once that happens, you know you're secure. So if you do go overboard or if you take some water on, that connector and that battery are going to be protected. That's about it. We're done. So we can put our battery in our boat. I'll just hold it up here. We have our kill switch that goes onto the battery and turns the battery on, indicating how much battery you've got. And we have our remote that you can strap to your wrist, your paddle, or anywhere on your kayak. You do want to wear this kill switch on your wrist or your foot or your life jacket, so if you do fall over, your boat doesn't keep going. But that's about it. We're set to sail. So thanks for watching, and see you on the water.